Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Before I kick this video off, I found out his new Cecily. It's Molly Atkinson, so you don't have to comment down below or call me dumb or anything. I knew to start with a name, I just needed a name. And then, yeah, okay, so, yes, it is Road to Avonlea week, but I'm trying to do 5 videos of each by the end of Walton week, I guess. So, and I did 3 Road to Avonlea videos, so I have to do 2 to this time, so... And this time I thought I'd talk about everything I watch. How to Train Your Dragon, Heartland, Little House on the Prairie, Road to Avonlea, The Waltons. In a video that I have titled, this video, Movies These TV Shows Need. So, I will be going through all the TV shows that I watch, movie franchise that How to Train Your Dragon. And for How to Train Your Dragon, I've picked a TV show that I haven't picked one, but I've created these in my mind. And then for the TV shows, I've created movies. So, how this is going to work, I will explain, I will say the movies the TV show has, what movies I think they need, and maybe any actors that were playing them, and if they were, and yeah, okay. So let's start the TV show. Start with my favorite. Now, these are all my favorite. I'm just, most favorite to... Okay, let's go in order of weeks. How to Train Your Dragon is going to be last, though. So let's start with Heartland. Now, Heartland, as we know, has one movie, and that's a Christmas movie. And in order to watch the Pike River Call and Heart of the River, you kind of have to watch the Heartland Christmas movie, which I think is the title of Heartland Christmas or something. And so, movies this show needs. Okay, so we know how this show starts. It doesn't really give much information on the characters. We learn more about that in this first season and later seasons. So, I don't know, a pilot movie about, how Tim met Marion up to maybe the accident. Now, for this one okay. If they were to film it in Heartland's later seasons, like now, but they still wanted to use the original actors, it'd be very hard for Chris Potter, who actually plays Tim, to play Tim now, just because his hair is white. And it'd be very hard for John Johnson to play Jack Bartlett. Of course, if they were to do it now, I guess Evan Marshall could play Marion. That'd be a little weird, though. And I guess maybe Graham Wardle could play Tim. Again, that'd be a little weird. But if they were to do it in, 2006, 2005, then the person that plays Marion in that first episode could play Marion. Chris Potter could play Tim, and Jack Bartlett, Sean Johnson could play Jack Bartlett. Yeah. I'm not sure who would play... Well, if it started out, if it started out, with Amy as a kid when she's 5 or whatever, then it'd be a younger kid, but then maybe when she's 15, like she is in the first movie, in the first season, then you can bring Evan Marshall in, if they did this in 2005, 2006. Otherwise, they'd have to use other actors. And it wouldn't be as good. Another movie I think they're doing, this would actually be a good way to end this series, is make it 20 years later. So that makes Amy and Ty in their 50s, Tim in his 70s, Lou in her... Oh, wait. Ty and Amy in their 40s, late 30s, early 40s. late 40s, early 50s. But make it that when, like, maybe Jack died and Tim's living, like, in a lodge or, like, a nursing home or something. And then, like, Ty and Amy inherit the ranch. And then by this time, Lou is living somewhere else, I guess. And, Georgie and Katie and Lindy are all grown up and have their own kids. This one will be really weird, though, because it'd be really weird. And this probably would not happen till, like, season 30, if they ever reach a season 30. Although Georgie's like 18, 19 now, so she's like practically grown up. And Katie's like 9. And Lindy's 3, so. But yeah, that'd be a good way to end the series, maybe. Maybe not, because then they might want to get into tying Amy by the ranch, but. Sorry guys, I like Heartland, but after season 11 it kind of gets boring. And yes, I'm excited for season 14. I'm excited that it's airing in the winter. I'm used to watching TV shows with 7 seasons, a minimum of 7 seasons, 9 of maximum, so having Heartland has 14 seasons. I'm just a little upset that they don't know when to quit. Okay, so there, we talked about Heartland. Okay, now moving on. Little House on the Prairie. Now this one I have 2. Again, I have like 2 for all of them except I think the Waltons and How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah. So, Little House on the Prairie now has the pilot movie and those 3 legacy movies. That's a total of 4. So for this one, a movie before the pilot movie, maybe those girls growing up in the big woods, that'd be a bit interesting to see. And again, I'm doing this in the perspective of, so this is for Heartland, it was if they did it now or if they did it back then. So the rest of these, it's going to be if they did it back then, because if they did it now, it'd be weird. So if they did it back in the 70s, the same girls could play, like Melissa Sue Anderson and Melissa Goodwood could still play Laura and Mary. And that's what and it would be basically just like the life on the big woods for a little bit, and then why they're gonna move to Kansas or wherever, and then stop. Pilot movie. Of course, that one could be a bit boring. Now, for Little House on the Prairie, the legacy movies, they're okay. I don't particularly enjoy them. The Last Farewell does make me cry. And Mr. Montague is just hilarious. Mr. Montague is... And as you know, you think The Last Farewell is the end, but no, he did a Christmas one, Bless All of Your Children, where they're apparently living in the city and Moses kidnapped. It's weird. They should have done one in between those two where they're living in the city, just so you know what that life is like. Because that would also probably be boring. This one, I thought of movies for all of them except, I did it for a bit for this one, but I didn't go into much detail as, Heartland or the others that I will go into detail for. Okay, so now we move on to Road to Avonlea. Okay, so this one the first episode of a season is generally longer, I think, in this case. But the first episode of the series is movie length. I think it's like 50-some minutes, so that technically counts as the pilot. And there is a Christmas movie. It's titled Happy Christmas, Mrs. King, but for DVD release, it's been changed to An Avonlea Christmas. And that has to do with, like, 3 to 7 years after the 7th season. I'm only guessing because I think the 7th season is like 1911. And it's basically World War One. And now that one I've never seen. The difference between Heartland and Little House on the Prairie, I've seen them. And pretty much Felix is at war, and the family all deals with that much. With that, and yeah. That's. I could give you a summary, but I would be here for like an hour. So for this one, I think we should have a video. Okay. Now for the other ones, I didn't give them a title. I only have like a title for like 3 of these, and that's this one, Walden's, and How to Train Your Dragon. So for this one, you could call it The King Children, and it'd be the story of Hetty, Alec, Ruth, Roger, and Olivia growing up. Story of them growing up into adults, so that we know, Hetty going to teacher college, just having that relationship with Romney Penhallow or whatever, becoming teacher in Avonlea. Alec eventually meeting Janet, taking over King Farm, so it would be pretty much from a certain age, like maybe when Olivia's baby and everybody else is like kids, to the first season of Roach Avonlea, which would mean Ruth's death. And it could be interesting, but this one you might have to split it up into like 3 or 4 movies instead of 1, because there's 5 children, and that's a lot of years to cover. Like the Heartland one, I mean, you could technically split that up into a few movies, but although it's kind of like Green Gables, it's a few years that have passed, but with 5 children to cover, you almost need 1 movie for each of them. And that is pretty much it for Roach Avonlea. Okay, now on to Walton's. So now Walton's, we know, has a Christmas, the Homecoming or whatever, which is like the pilot, and I've never seen that. In fact, I don't want to, because all the adults are different except for Ellen Corby. The kids are all the same, though. And then they have 6 reunion movies at the end, which is a total of 7. And those 6 movies, they do 3 in 82 after Walton's is canceled, and 3 in the 90s. Now, I think they should do another reunion movie, as I think the 75th anniversary was in 2017? Correct me if I'm wrong. So that means that the 80th anniversary is in 2022. 2 years. Also happens to be the year I graduated from high school. So I think they should do a Christmas episode where it's like 50 years later, like set in the 90s, and they all have their own grandchildren, and Grandma Walton is passed on, their father is passed on. Of course, it'd be very, very boring, because they have to call back all the old actors and find kids to play the children, and it would probably be very boring. All these movies I'm saying would be some of them may be very boring, some of them could be interesting, depends on the way they write them. Of course, we do know with Walton's, Roach Avonlea, and Little House on the Prairie, they all ended 20 years ago. Well, Roach Avonlea did that last movie in 98, so that's like 22 years ago. Walton's like 90... It was 99 or 97, one of the two, and then Little House on the Prairie in the late 80s or early 80s. Heartland's the only one that is a modern show and is continuing. So, yes, and like I'm saying, these could all be boring, or they could be very interesting depending on the way they wrote them. And again, it depends on everybody's taste. Alright, so now we come to the final one. How to Train Your Dragon. Now this one's got a lot. 3 movies. 2, technically 3 TV shows. If you, I count Rise and Fantasy Berg as 1 because it is. If you don't, that's okay. And then like 6 shorts. School Dragons, Legend of the Bone Napper, Gift of the Night Fury. Yeah, about 6. I've only seen the 2 Christmas ones. So, now this one we know, there's the first movie, then they do, I think, like, Riders of Berk, and then they do, like, Book of Dragons, Legend of the Bone Napper, and, oh, what's that? Gift of the Night Fury. I don't know why I was stumbling on that. And then, then they did the second movie, then they did Race to the Edge, just kind of to film what happened between Rise of Berk and the second movie. And then they did the third movie. And then Homecoming. Okay, so now this one I'm going to get into really advanced here. So the first movie. Okay. Then then they did Rise of Berk and Race to the Edge, which kind of fills in the 5-year gap, and plus like those 3 shorts. Fills in 4 shorts, I guess. Yeah. Fills in the 5-year gap between the first movie and the second movie. The third movie, it's only a year later, okay. Not much, you don't really need anything to get that. Maybe a short that just maybe Hiccup's chiefly due to something. You don't really need anything there. Okay. The epilogue and the Homecoming short are 9 years. 9 years after the third movie. What happened in those 9 years? Why aren't Valka and Aerith in the Christmas movie? What's going on with fish legs and muffin? It's hilarious, I get it, but I don't like it. So what's going on? We need a TV series to help with this. Again, just my opinion. How to Train Your Dragon in between. That's what I'm calling it. Once I get, where are you, Gobbler? Once I get all the How to Train Your Dragon plan wheel sets that I can find, I am doing it. The 9 years that happen, you know. So, and I actually have ideas for episodes. Of course, the only thing is there's no dragons. But as we've seen from the twins and Gobber and Snarlbout, they don't need dragons to be funny or to be good. The dragons are just there because it's How to Train Your Dragon. They need dragons. If it was about the dragons, then they would need humans because the dragons aren't funny without humans. Actually, that's not true. Every time Hiccup and Ash are talking on Sea Stacks when Stormfly Toothless are fighting is funny, but it wouldn't be good without the humans. So, now, Zephyr is 8 in the Homecoming, which means she has to be born in Hiccup and Astrid's first year of marriage. So, again, that'd be a key episode. Maybe also Nothing being born, Ruffnut and Fish Legs' wedding. You could also explain what happened to Valka and Aerith, what's going on with Snarlbout, like what's he doing. And could also explain some other stuff. You know, maybe a few key plot lines in there. I only have like 3 episodes. Hiccup maybe wondering what to do with something that his father handled, but he doesn't know how to handle it, so he like talks to the statue of his father or something. That's weird. Yeah. And fun fact about Zephyr is actually the first child born on Newburgh, so that's interesting. And she doesn't seem 8, she seems like Astrid in the first movies, like 15. So, there you have it. Movies and, I guess, TV shows these TV shows and movies need. Shorten it to movies these TV shows need, including How to Train Your Dragon. So that's about it. Let me know down below if you think these movies need these TV shows. Or, sorry, the TV shows need these movies. And if you don't agree with me, that's okay. You're entitled to your opinion. Again, this is just my opinion. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video because my videos are awesome. And if you have the same passion as me, maybe you've got friends that have the same passion as you, maybe you want them to share this passion between us. Come on. Why not? See ya.